Not the Chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise!
I have a real soft spot for evil.
Blood flying everywhere.
So good!
I'm a big boy who doesn't get scared.
Out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod.
Sup, Chuddle Club members. Welcome to Chuddle the Pod, a weekly horror movie podcast where horror movie lovers have a feel-good time. If this is your first time listening, welcome. We break down a movie in varied ways, including but not limited to our Gore-o-meter and villain level, as well as a big discussion on the events of the film. But of course, we'll let you know once we dive into the spoiler zone. In this episode, we are going to chuddle the 2009 zombie flick, The Horde. Before we get into that, every good club meeting starts with attendance. I'm Sam, and I'm here. Sup? Ross, you here, buddy?
I am. Oh, hey. How are you?
Yay. Oh, I'm so good. Thank you for asking. Thank you for being here.
Oh, always a pleasure.
Moving on. To Brian, of course. Brian, are you here?
Huh?
Yeah.
I was fine with you just moving on, but okay.
Yeah.
Just
this will be a fun little joke, and he's like, and then I was like, nah, he'll just be like, okay.
I'll allow it.
But we're here. We're down to talk about La Horde, which is the Belgian.
I like that we've watched
pronunciation.
enough Giallos that you just put just an Italian accent on the end of that French one.
Before we continue, I must take this moment to thank our coven of patrons. Your sacrifice gives us life, and we thank your beautiful souls.
Thank you.
Give your respect.
Yeah.
With all club members present and the coven avowed, it's time to crack open the goo book and officially begin tonight's meeting.
That show your respect thing is from like Mortal Kombat. I was looking for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I play that one with Sergio back to back, I'm like, it could be the same fucking guy. Just like tuned around
Sergio just
like,
didn't tell us that he voices over for
fucking
Mortal Kombat.
When he gets
Mortal
sick,
Kombat.
he goes in and does Mortal Kombat. Voiceover.
Give me that goo. Oh, yeah.
Lucrative. If you can do it, get it. I say go for it, Sergio. And Sergio's from the Horde bandwagon. Check him out on YouTube. Right now, we're going to do our Goonopsis and toe tag lines. Goonopsis, I really like this one. An end of the world battle between gangsters, cops, and zombies.
You do like that?
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like that's more of a tagline than a synopsis.
Well, to be fair,
I mean,
I'm
it's
not
very
really
to
sure
the
what
point.
IMDb calls this point that we just pull the little sentence description off of. It's just right under the poster. I would throw in something about being in a building, trapped in a building. But other than that,
Sure.
I like it when it's to the point. You don't like it, Brian?
No, I think it's too to the point, and I don't think it really conveys what the movie. I don't think it's a battle between gangsters, cops, and zombies. I think it needs to speak more to being like it needs to talk. I think it needs to mention the tower, and the gangsters and cops being forced to team up to fight the zombies.
I think we're going to fight each other initially.
Yeah, like there's something in there, like an unlikely. There's something else that needs to be had.
But when a
to, I think,
zombie
be a
outbreak,
better synopsis.
Yeah.
A fucking when a zombie outbreak happens, a raid gone wrong, forces unlikely, enemies to team up.
Oh, hey, okay, hold on.
That sounds incredibly like 90s action movie, but
totally.
It works for me.
I found the Cinema Fan like little synopsis blip that sounds a little more like the.
Yeah, those are long though. We've never pulled those before, so I didn't pull that one.
True.
Because there is a summary section on IMDb, but we're not summarizing the movie here. Taglines, there are none. And if you look at the poster, there's none on there either. So
you're not wrong.
Nope. Yeah. So I'd like to say that movies are made by people, and the people that made this movie are... It's directed by Yannick Dahan and Benjamin Rocher. Writers are Arnaud Bordas. This is French, by the way, this movie, so I'm going to do my best with these names. Yannick Dahan and Stephanie Moisekis, we'll go with. Then actors, we got Jean-Pierre Martin as Wes, Eric Ebouene as Ade, Claude Perron as Aurore, Aurélien Recoing as Jimenez.
Welcome to my world, baby.
No, I'm laughing at this next name. Doo-doo Master? Doo-doo Master as Bola? Antoine Oppenheim as Tony, Joe Prestia as Jose, and Yves Pignot as Renee. I'm going to leave it at that. All right. I mean, we don't know any of these people from anything, right?
So,
do you know Doo-doo Master?
God damn it. I didn't know that was his name. He's a French hip-hop artist as well.
Oh, really?
So he probably there's some music out there.
Is that his rap name?
I would assume so.
It's
He's
the
on
Doo-doo
Insta.
Master.
It might be like
We can
it might be
try.
like Dowdo.
I don't know French, so I don't know. I'm going to go with doo-doo.
I'm gonna go
It's
with doo-doo.
safe. I'm sure that's what he would like.
I was gonna say we should email him and ask him. Oh, excuse me, Doo-doo Master. Mr. I'm sorry, excuse me.
Mr. Doo-doo
Doo-doo Master.
Monsieur Doo-doo
It's
Master.
Dr. Monsieur. It's Dr. Doo-doo.
He got his doctorate in doo-doo.
God damn it. I'm so sorry.
Boom, 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 boom. It's the Doo-doo Master. All
I
right.
don't feel good about this, but it's so funny.
No. This man's
Well,
gonna
it's
fly.
okay.
This
It's
guy's
time for
gonna
something
fly to
else.
America just to punch us in the face.
I'll take it, man. I'll take
Oh
my
my
licking.
God. I'd be like, oh my God, it's the Doo-doo Master. All right, Brian, it's time.
Fatality.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Psycho to the Sadness, how gory is the film?
Sam,
You want me to go first?
I do want you to go first because you have zombie blindness when it comes to gore, and I want to know if this is reflected in this movie.
Yeah, I want to see. Yeah, well, we'll find out because I feel like we can only be so far off on this one. But for consistency, I put a 4 because it takes a second to start, but once it starts, it's pretty much there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And then for intensity, I put a 4 as well because there's tons of blood, but I don't think we get any viscera or severed limbs or anything like that. It's pretty much just blood and biting and shooting and action violence.
We get some
lots
head
of blood.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, absolutely.
There is one good, at the end. But so I'm at an 8. 8 out of 10.
Pretty
8 seems great.
solid.
Yeah, I think a
would
4 and
argue
a 4
for that. 4 and 4 too.
Yeah,
Let's all agree on this one. Make it nice
Hey.
and simple.
yeah, super
Finally.
dude. Yeah,
But I mean, I think it's all
the universe
because
corrected
it's
itself.
pretty. Well, it's pretty obvious and blatant, and I mean,
Yes,
there's it's pretty red splattery blood, like we
Yes.
said. The consistency, there's no arguing
It's
over
like-
the consistency on this one, and there's definitely headshots happening. There's definitely some neck
Viscera,
biting,
neck
pulling
ripping
and
and
stuff,
stuff like
just
that.
a little bit. It's not terrible, like,
but
I'd
it's like
say
it's like a
mineral that I
copious
feel like
amount.
chunks are being
It's like a copious amount of action gore. I guess it
Yeah.
would be kind of a key phrase. Like,
Well,
this is
yeah, oh,
the-
yeah.
I would, absolutely. Copious amounts of action gore.
action gore.
Who's the gore for? I don't know, but I'll tell you this. We're going to answer this.
Who is the horror forward?
All right, well, let's start in the usual place, the subgenres. What subgenres to this French?
action horror, as Ross
action-
just said.
Action horror. Absolutely.
Zombie horror.
Zombie horror, fast zombie horror.
Yeah,
if you're
fast
into
zombie.
Into, like,
fast zombies.
Crime?
Gang movies,
Yeah, totally. A gang
Yeah.
movie.
that
Absolutely.
type of
You know, cops and bad guys.
setting.
Yeah. Whatever you call like tower movies, where everybody's like stuck in a building.
Ooh, yeah. A high rise of horror.
Yeah. I'm sure that was a quote somewhere. I think that about covers it, really.
Yeah.
What kind of environment is best to watch this in? Probably with your pals.
I was gonna say
feel
this
like-
leans more towards group. I mean, it's fine by yourself, but I feel like it's
Yeah.
action packed enough that you could be with a bunch of
I feel like
friends and watch it.
Yeah, it leans towards like being like, oh, did you just see that? Yes, I did just see that. Wow, what a movie.
No, yeah, it's there for, like any action movie is probably enjoyed, blasted, like, with
to the teeth
on weed or whatever. But I meant like the sound blasting, like in a dark theater, like
oh yeah,
or heroin, whatever you're. I mean,
if you're on that H train, just in the theater,
do.
whatever you're doing.
However you're blasting, blast it,
be
man.
Safe.
No, but it's
just be safe.
I don't support it.
Yeah.
No irresponsible blasting.
No irresponsible blasting, please. Yeah, I don't know. It's like most action movies though, where I feel like this is better in a group, but not by much. As in, like, I think you're still going to get enjoyment because it's so action packed by yourself or with a group.
Sure.
You just have to like action movies, I think.
Yes, that's actually a very good prerequisite for this movie. If you don't like action movies, this may fall short for you.
And is it for beginners?
I would chalk this up as yeah.
I think it could be because you're probably more familiar with action movies than you would be with horror movies. So this could be a nice entryway, and it still gives you enough of the horror and zombies to really expose you to that.
But yeah, for sure. And I think there's some of the themes that would get way heavier in other zombie movies that are like lightly grazed in this one, where it's a nice it's a nice balance.
Okay. Chuddle Harbinger of Doom. Mothman's making his way over. Got a few warnings for us, maybe. I have at least one.
Go for it.
A rape could have happened, but it doesn't.
Yeah. There's definitely heavy talk of like sexual assault in one scene for sure.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a rape.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't really think of anything
There's
else.
off-screen animal death. You hear the animal whimper, but I mean, you don't really see anything, so it's not that.
That's very true.
Bad, but that's all.
All right, great.
All I got.
Let's go ahead and buckle up, Buttercup.
Spoiler zone.
IMDb behind the scenes. There was only 2, and I got rid of one of them because it was just about a festival, like a film festival. So there's a short film, Rivolon, which is the dead cop that triggers all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's a prequel / prologue to the film La Horde. Introduces some of the characters and narrates what happened before the events of the movie. And it says here, it makes no sense on its own if you haven't watched the full-length film.
I like that piece of trivia, too, which is like interesting to make.
And I feel like they don't give us enough in this to really... I don't really understand the relationship of the characters in this.
It's laid out all right, but there really is no back... Like, if you just blend the prequel and just throw that in the beginning of this movie...
I think it might have...
Probably helped.
Strong. Yeah. Could be.
Could.
Because I feel like in the first... could have. I feel like in the first, specifically the first, 15, 20 minutes, I was introduced to a group of people that I was supposed to know, but I didn't know.
Yeah, it's just like, here are characters, now they go do things. Off they go. All right. Who picked it? History, why? I picked it because I was choosing a foreign language. I wanted to choose a foreign language movie because I knew they were... And there's plenty of others I could have done, but I saw this one in 2009, liked it then. So I was like, well, we'll give it another spin. I've been wanting to revisit it. And here we are. You guys have never seen it before, right?
I have seen it when it first came out into around 2009, 2010, I think, but have not revisited it since. But it was fun to watch again, for sure.
I don't think I had seen it. If I had, it did not have any lasting impression on me.
Sure, yeah, right.
So I don't think I'd seen this before.
Cool.
Yeah.
I feel there's a foreshadowing for Sticky going on right there.
Let's talk about this movie. Opens up, we get that, what? Dowdo?
Dowdo.
No, it's doo-doo.
Dowdo.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce this man's name. So I went to a different, how to pronounce it. And the first one I went to, it just goes doo-doo master. And I was like, damn it.
Damn it.
It's doo-doo master.
Internet, you're not helping.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
Well, the second one I went to, it said Dadu. David, in a U.S. English pronunciation, says Dowdu.
Well, it's spelled D-O-U, so I don't see how that sound changes. It's
not an American.
It's either Dow or doo-doo.
Oh, boy. All right, sorry.
I don't want to learn a better way to say it personally.
I'm gonna reach out to this man personally.
Like, just so you know, my friend thinks your name is Doo-Doo Master, and he thought it was very funny, but I said, no, I'm sure that's not right. And I figured
and then he's going to come back and be like, it is doo-doo. It is funny.
So, do we get any explanation for why this cop is dead, hog-tied, naked, in rubble?
No.
Okay.
Presumably, Ade Marcuti, the main lead gangster, because they're going to get revenge on him, but how, why, any of that stuff, we do not.
Gang shit? Cops and gang stuff, man.
They're
like the cops. This is the gang. He was a cop, and the gang found out about the cops, so the gang kills the cop, and now the cops are mad, and they're going to go kill the gang.
Okay.
That's what this movie is. And then zombies.
And then zombies.
So this whole movie is like color graded to shit. It drives me crazy now. It didn't bother me at the time, but
it is stylized.
So we start. Yes. So it opens with the corpse bound on the ground and a man looking at him,
shaking his head,
angry, maybe sad too. Who knows?
There's a fuck ton of like brooding and just murder eyes in this fucking movie.
Yeah,
the level was it or the Claude Perron's character in this
Lady Cop. Oh, that is how she will be referred to in my notes.
Is just given dagger eyes the entire time.
Mm-hmm. I think only 2 characters have names in my notes because, 3, because they don't say the characters' names very much, and I didn't want to like figure it out. So, Bigot, Carney, Lady Cop, Injured Cop. We got those types of names.
Whole bunch of cops. Cop.
But you're right about the brooding, because my next note is we're at a funeral. People are sad.
Sad.
The man at funeral talks to a widow. She tells him she knows what he's going to do, and he needs to promise to bring everyone back. It's like got this weird like.
Is that his widow?
I think that's
I watched this thing like 2.5 times, and each time I was like, "That's got to be his wife." I go, "Wait, is it his mom?"
I thought it was his mom at one point, like the family mom. But I'm like, "Who are? Wait, you're cops, right?"
Yeah, they're cops. I don't know. I don't.
And then the awkward hug, like the giant ogre guy that's not talking with Lady Cop walks up and he does that weird hug and then embraces. I was like, is that her son? Like, who is that? Who are they in relation to each other?
Who are they in relation to each other? Indeed.
Like, I get the point of like, you don't, it's an action movie. Everyone's going to die, blah, 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 this and that. Like, you don't need
horror movies are like that too. You still need character development.
Thank you.
The plot here is laid out in bits and pieces. Basically, a cop was killed by a gang, and now 4 cops are going to take justice into their own hands by going into an abandoned tenement building and kill gang members is what my note says.
Ooh, kill?
Yeah, they're going to kill gang members.
Not just arrest, they're going to kill.
They're going to kill them. I mean, that is what they're going to do. They probably do want to go kill. Like, they want to kill them and kill them again. They are very...
Kill these.
Because when they show up, they've got fucking ski masks and, like, guns drawn. Like, they are great. Like, their intent
like
is
military style or SWAT team or something.
No backup because they're just a murder squad at this point.
Yeah, it's off the books, I presume.
It's funny to think of this because I watched as a juxtaposition of this. It was just St. Paddy's Day, so we threw on Boondock Saints. Haven't watched that in a long time. That was a fun run through again, but like, just
how'd that hold up?
I mean, obviously there's things that are like here and there with stuff, but it's still fun. It's still really good. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but yeah, they're like their raid heist thing versus this one here. I'm like, God damn, I just want to watch Boondock Saints again when it comes to this stuff. I'm like, once it gets to the action is hella fun once we get into it and stuff starts picking up here. I enjoyed in this movie, but like we're not being introduced to characters to make them really care, and we're not like.
It's a weird.
I feel like
all
it's
their
not interesting
dialogue-
enough. Is
Yeah.
it? Maybe there's something lost in translation that doesn't make it cool enough to jive.
Well, it's
for,
this like
for
it's
us as a
very
viewer.
avant-garde when it comes to explanations of things, and just kind of like I feel like if I had gotten more details about why they are going to be a hit squad to do this, shy of just like blanketed revenge, I probably would have felt a little more like sympathetic, or maybe something.
I don't need something outside of revenge. I just need to know how these characters relate to each other. Who are they? Like, the only dialogue we've had is like, this guy is dead, we're gonna get revenge, let's go. There's no like, hey Mike, is your wife okay? Oh yeah, thanks for checking. Like, that's my brother-in-law, or like, anything.
Well, I feel
no
like
sort of like charismatic banter between them to lead to anything between them. And I think I read it, but I don't know if I ever picked it up in the movie, that these cops, it kept saying that these are like crooked cops or something like that.
Yeah, I thought they were.
But
Like,
there's
I
no,
guess it's
like there's no explanation on that. Like, I feel like there's an action movie that came before this that we were
Well, there was
supposed
apparently
to
a short movie.
a short movie. I guess there was, but it's like I feel like there's an entire movie that I missed out because, like, I mean, Jesus Christ, even like Lady Cop is pregnant by one of the dudes we find out later on, but that's like a blip. And then she becomes a sociopath because she's got a baby, and that's like a 5-minute dialogue thing, and then changes her story arc for the rest of the movie. Like, I was so fucking confused on some of these like choices, because especially it's like, I'm gonna do this now, and like, why? Fuck you. Like, just
I don't give a shit about anything or anyone.
Yeah, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, there's some drastic character changes and just, I'd say, who the main character is halfway through this movie. But walk us through this movie, Sam. We'll get to that very soon.
Yeah.
So four cops now masked are sieging the masked cops are sieging the building.
Yes.
But as far as the crooked cop thing, I think I got that vibe because they're clearly doing this like not as cops. They're coming in
the record.
Right, exactly.
But I almost got more of a vigilante thing than a crooked cop from this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Still a bad cop, I guess.
Oh no, still a bad cop regardless. I mean, especially
because
since
it felt
but like
so
as far
much
as them
like
committing crimes outside of this, you mean?
Well, it's the I think you get the hint of like, okay, these guys aren't the best cops, obviously, when the first guy, the
next thing that happens right here.
Yeah, good guy
Wes,
cop.
Yeah, Wes, who's our main sort of cop leader, comes up and knocks out the sentry. And then that big guy, the ogre that you mentioned from earlier, comes up and like stabs the guy in the back of the neck or something.
Yeah, and just shanks him. And he goes, no, we're here for a fucking bloodbath. And you're just like, oh.
Carnage, he says.
Carnage. And you're like, well, all right. I like this because the cops, like even the good guy main cop is confused on why they're there.
Right.
Like he's like, wait, what? We're
only
doing
here
this?
to kill the one guy. They're like, no, we're going to kill everybody. Everybody's an enemy. Lady Cop reminds Wes everyone in the building is an enemy. Title card. The super catches the raiding cops going up the stairs and then is like, oh, your cops? Yeah, the bad guys are up there. Go ahead and get them.
This fucking jabroni, this fucking dude, just, I mean, he's like MacGuffin, the superintendent of the building, but it's like, God, what a cheeseball character. I don't know, because there's other kinds of these characters in other like building movies, and this one is just Limburger cheese. I don't know. He's just god awful.
Sure. I feel like every character was Limburger cheese, in my opinion. I feel like this whole movie was that. Like, I feel like I was watching like a video game. That's what it felt like to me. So it felt fun at points.
Yes.
Where I feel like these were all like, it was like, what's the Dead Rising? Like all the villains are like these really weird fucking Limburger cheese characters that are like these.
Oh my God, you're so right. This is literally just a Dead Rising.
Like the fucking like the Russian guys and all that felt like that. Then it brought into my head. I was like, what? Like, It would be a cool, like, almost open world video game. I was thinking of, like, but it only takes place in one tower. I was like, how do you make this like a tower video game where, like, in this
Zombie
scenario,
tower,
you can't go outside because zombies are everywhere, but you would have to have the ability to go literally into every room into a giant tower. I was like, that's just an interesting game.
You know, that's a really good point, because, like, in my notes I have throughout this, like, this plays like a Left 4 Dead, like, like a bit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially, like, running through, finding ammo, and doing a bunch of, like, I was like, oh, this is a video game. Okay, all right.
The cops find the way to their floor with the baddies on it and move in a military formation down the hallway. They find the room the gang is in and start setting the door with explosive. The super pops back into the hallway to offer his shotgun, and when talking to him, a bearded cop gets shot through the doorway.
In, like, his fucking neck, like, weird shoulder, like, it's like basically almost by his throat, collarbone area, which I okay. Usually I'm just in it to win it. They took so long to put that C4 in the goddamn lock where I'm like, someone's going to fuck this up. Like, they are taking so long. Like, I was waiting for an interruption to happen.
Sure.
That's when I knew, like, the raid was going to go south, because it took this guy like 5 minutes just to fumble with this fucking fuse and shit.
This whole time it feels like they're fumbling around, and, like, I'm like, what do you guys, like, fucking do something? Like, yeah. I
want to know the scene at the bar where they're all just getting shit hammered before showing. Like, this seems like a cop version of, like, a gangster panty raid. Like, these guys are like, let's fucking do it, and, like, running through gangster raid, like, just running up and, like shooing people away and shit. Like, I probably would have enjoyed this movie if they were just shithouse hammered the entire time. Like, we're gonna fucking kill this guy. So it goes horribly wrong.
So the guy gets shot in the neck. Then either a cop or a gangster, not really sure which, but somebody shoots the explosive in the door because all of a sudden it explodes.
One of the cops does. I think he shoots the lock and it blows back at him and fucks his arm up. And
one of the cops does? I took it back several times to, like, try and figure out where it came from, and I was like, I have no fucking clue. But obviously, shooting the explosive, it's gonna blow up.
Well, I figured it came from inside the apartment because they were just shooting from inside the apartment. Mm-hmm. So I figured someone just shot it, and it shot the lock, which exploded the shit.
Sure.
And the dude was still standing right next to it.
Well, that injures a different cop. Now,
he's
that
like,
guy
fuck!
will be heretofore known as injured cop.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean injured cop?
Mm-hmm. One gangster pops out of the room, doo-doo master, and shoots the super before turning to the cops. Cops are totally fucked now. They're getting taken hostage by the gang. This immediately went about as wrong as it could for them. Save zombies. We'll get there.
Right? I do like that the superintendent, and then including the gangsters, called all of their, like, weapons like your little tiny pussy guns. I like the fact the super says it before, like, you're like, you need some big ass guns, and then he gets lit the fuck up in 30 seconds, and then all the gangsters are like, you were gonna raid us with this, like, these fucking pea shooters? Like, what's your problem?
Cops can't get good guns. That's the problem. That's the problem.
But they're crooked. They should just go down to the fucking weapons
to the
store and
get the
good guns.
Yeah.
Like, come on, crooked crop store, all that kind of shit. And isn't at the same time we're getting, like, a little bits of interludes of the outside of, like,
just sort of
the dude that's on, like, guard being like,
yes, and he's hearing shit in the background.
Spooky out here, like that. So we're finally being like,
his dog.
Oh yeah, zombies, come on. Yeah, let's go.
Something
zombies.
ominous in the shadows.
The gang already has a hostage with them, which is the cops. So here's the other thing I'm confused about. There was a criminal informant, a CI, in the bathroom being held by these guys. So were they there to rescue him or get revenge?
No. So
get revenge.
The CI.
I think that was coincidental.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy that's not hogtied. The guy that's tied to the toilet in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. They had no fucking clue that guy was there. More than likely isn't actually a CI. And just this guy, and, like, this is just some random asshole with a fucking bag on his head on the toilet. And all these gangsters are like, oh, you're gonna save this motherfucker? And they're sitting there going like, we did what? I didn't know. Right. You killed her.
So he's in the bathroom, garbage bag on the head, and Bola, doo-doo master, who in my notes he's Bola, but from here on out he's doo-doo master. He gets trigger happy and shoots the CI in the bathroom, kills him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I love when he goes, got blood all over my fucking suit.
Now one of the other gangsters in there yells something, and we don't get subtitles on it. And then another one of the gangsters is like, I don't understand what you're saying, which is actually,
funny.
yeah, that's a great moment in the movie.
That was pretty good.
Once that happened, I was like, wait, why did I have
subtitles?
I see what you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, that movie got me because I rewound it. Where I was like,
before
nice,
you
my
got to
subtitles before I got to the I can't understand a fucking word you're saying. I was like, all right, 10 points. 10 points, Horde. 10 points.
That's a good one. The gangsters won't leave until the cops tell them what's waiting for them outside because they assume they came with like a raid team and are just here on their own. Meanwhile, a couple gang members are now locking down the building because Ade, I think his name is, our main gangster guy, who's the brother of Doodoo Master.
Lock it down.
Yeah, he had told him, lock this building down. Cops are here.
Which is so weird to me that they lock the front with chains and a bunch of shit, but that one lookout doesn't go to the other side of the fucking building, to the rear entrance, to lock that.
Well,
they're probably not paid very well. They're probably not paid very well.
Or, it's hard to get good help these days.
Yes.
There's a reason he's on lookout duty, not lock the building duty.
That's very true.
Wes tells them they came alone, but they start hearing gunfire and chaos outside. So they assume that he's lying. And Ade shoots the cop who got shot in the neck and the head.
Mm-hmm. Also, doesn't he also shoot the back of one of the wounded cop in his leg?
He might. I know he gets shot in the leg at some point.
That happens at one point, yes.
Yeah, because he's like, who the fuck's out there? And he blows that guy's leg. And I'm like, he's already wounded. Now he's double wounded.
Yes, he does that first,
and then executes the fucking...
Because there's this really intense 30 seconds of them just staring at each other.
One good thing about that, another reason why I'm surprised my notes were as long as they were, is because as far as note taking, there's a lot of like, and then this happens for 30 seconds to a minute. Like,
yeah.
So
pretty much.
I made it easier on me. This is on Hulu, by the way, if you want to check it out as of this recording. Or not Hulu, Tubi, excuse me.
This is where we start getting the ruckus from the bathroom, right?
Yes. Just when they're about to kill all of them, they hear strange noises from the bathroom where the dead CI is, which I also thought was a cool moment. Like, there's a dead guy in there, and now you just...
Well, there's some rummaging, and I think there's a cutscene when they go back down where there's things running around, and the guy who got stabbed in the neck gets back up.
Is that who sat up? I couldn't tell what I was supposed to see there.
And that's where I got kind of excited, where I was like, oh, these are Romero zombies. So everyone's infected. Anybody who dies, no matter what, it doesn't have to be a bite, you just have to die, is going to get up and go fucking feral. Where I was like, okay.
And they're fast.
And they're fast. I was like, okay, all right, I can live with these parameters.
So they're all staring at this bathroom, guns drawn, like, what the fuck is going on? Because it's like, I'm banging on the door. And yeah, we are getting these sort of fast cuts outside. We'll see somebody run by the camera real quick or something. They open the door and trash bag zombie goes wild. He starts...
Definition of a fucking Resident Evil looking bad guy. Like, he's got this black bag over his head. His whole mouth is chewed out. This guy looked fucking rad.
I was on board with
cool
it. I was
design.
like, ooh, this is fucking okay, cool. This is like, I don't know if this dude looked like this beforehand, and this zombieism turned him into this, but I'm like, I'm on board for what's happening here.
And they're on fucking steroids. Like, these things can knock people clear across a room. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, this guy's also huge.
Thing, definitely.
For
rabid.
Sure. Yes.
They remind me of 28 Days Later zombies and like their ferocity and fastness.
Mm-hmm.
Ferociousness.
When they lit him up with bullets was fucking awesome.
Well, before they do that, he starts eating one gang member, then he gets shot to shit, but not in the head, of course. But again, it's like 30 fucking seconds of just body shots. And then he kills another gang member. Then they start beating him up. They're all just like punching him, kicking him. Until Ade grabs a shotgun, blows the top of his head off, which is a cool little Gore headshot.
The head goo in the bag, I thought was like his just exploding was fantastic. It was super brutal watching two grown men beating the ever loving shit out of this zombie who doesn't care about them at all and is still just ravenously eating the other bat. I was like, there was an aspect of that. I was like, that's kind of cool.
I do.
Where it's like very single minded, as in like he could have just immediately started attacking everyone, but he's just like, this man is hungry and he wants his lunch and he does not care
He's
that
got
these
a
people are
sandwich.
just,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
leave
He
him
had a
alone.
good bite of that manwich.
I mean, this again had me given those video game feels.
yes.
I just wish it went more. I think it could have amped it and went like hyperactive on it, because you get the feeling of like, I don't know, the Russian mobster guy, like that, like how he looks and acts and talks and like uses his knife as his weapon is like totally a character you would pick in a game of like a
Absolutely.
Or it'd
4-player
be somebody
zombie
you're
game
stuck
where you're
with,
like
yeah.
Totally.
or something like that. Yeah.
I think and obviously we're going to get to it because it's about to happen, but it's a kind of a consistent theme throughout this, which really kind of like, for better choice of words, kind of turned me off from it, where it's, if you have these super fast fucking zombies, you do not need shaky cam. Like, it's this weird cinematic thing where it's like watching the Transformers movies where two robots are fighting, but they're spinning in a circle. So you have no fucking idea what you're looking at until one of them is laying on the ground. Like, this is how I felt about most of the zombie scenes, where I'm like, dude, they're already fast. We do not need it duct taped to a puppy's head running up and down these halls.
I know what you mean. I didn't feel that way. Like throughout the movie, it's there, but it didn't bother me too much, except for the end. And I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ! Like, was the guy just standing there in front? Like, I was trying to picture what the cameraman was doing the whole time.
Yeah.
So yeah, to make it seem more energetic and action packed, there's a good bit of shaky cam whenever you see zombies. Although I will say in 2009, none of this stuff, like, it just seemed like a fucking rad action zombie movie. So I and that is to say, I don't think it has aged well, like, comparatively. Also, I would have been like, let's say it was 2010, even at 24, whatever I was at the time, like, different taste now.
Different vibes.
Different things I want. Anyway, they hear a noise in the hallway and a gang member goes out to check it out. Boom, gets sucked off screen. Now there's a zombie in the hall.
Was pretty comedic. He's like,
so there's a zombie in the hall and two fresh zombies in the room. So the cops and gangsters flee to a stairwell. They block off the door from the staircase and hold up on a roof. Our remaining characters are three cops. Wes, main cop. Here are our remaining characters: three cops, three gangsters. Wes, main cop, lady cop, or Wes, who's the main cop, lady cop, an injured cop. And then we have the gang members: Ade, who's the head guy, his unstable brother, Dudu Masta, and his guard friend, the Carney. I just call him the Carney because that's what our character we meet, who I call the bigot, is calls him.
That's a good way of putting it.
So after a moment of feeling safe, they look out from the rooftop to see chaos across the city, and the rooftop looks like a post-apocalyptic version of The Roof in the Room.
It really super
does.
CGI.
I did like the nightfall scene. I really do like them all really realizing the gravity. I mean, obviously you have fucking running zombies all over the place, like, but the gravity of the scene, seeing the entire city under siege and like all of these, like, I really did like
smoke plumes, fire.
Oh, and like the explosions behind the other smoke plumes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like this, it's super layered. And I really do like that, because I think in a lot of zombie movies, especially around the time, like, the remake of like Dawn of the Dead, things like that, you get these overhand shots, you get like buildings on fire, and you get some other stuff. But this looked like actual
like
rolling chaos. Yeah.
They also see a horde of zombies trying to get into their building, and it made me be like, why are all these, like, for what purpose would all these zombies be doing it? But at the same
coming
time,
to eat us.
They're zombies. If one of them starts doing it, the others will start following. They might just follow each other like lemmings.
Which is also
how
super confusing, because I don't know if they're, I mean, I'm assuming they're attracted to a bunch of different things, but it's like, was it the gunshots and the other shit that happened that attracted all of them out of the scope? Because like they're supposed to be in a condemned building in the outskirts of the fucking city.
Totally. Why are there so many fucking zombies there? Are they maybe they're by a cemetery?
But these aren't like
they don't look
freshly.
They look fresh.
Yeah.
They look freshly killed.
They're all turned. You know what I mean? Where it's like And I guess if like a city turns into zombies that fast, they'll hit and then kind of disperse. But like not where they're at. I don't know. I got very confused on how fast 1,000 zombies showed up.
One of the many things that doesn't really work.
Yeah. I mean, it would work in a video game.
What do you think caused the like? I mean, I just think about this in like zombie movies in general or whatever. I don't think Doo-Doo Master causes. Maybe he does cause every single zombie outbreak. But like for it to like all of a sudden, everything or in the city is just fucking blowing up, and there's thousands of zombies running about within the span of 30 minutes. Because realistically, weren't this team just in town and everything was okay?
Yeah, totally.
Right. They had to come from somewhere before this raid, and this raid didn't take that long once they're at the place.
Totally. Like you said, a half an hour to an hour fucking tops. And like, if you're going by zombie logic, well, specifically the amount of like whatever, I don't know, if there's Romero zombies, any kind of violence or death in a city would cause zombie outbreaks.
Right.
So like shootings, accidents, things like that. So you could have like pockets of stuff, but like I'm assuming the main ones would be the hospitals, the city morgue, because if they're all rising from the dead and it doesn't matter if they're bitten or not, then
public
you'd have
transportation. And if any, like we kind of see it in the sadness, but if anybody's, because that's one of the few places where you are truly stuck until you get like to the next stop or whatever. So if one of them gets on it, because you can start killing, you can get the numbers up quick that way, which add to new killers, or new predators. Yes. But the more you kill, the more you have on your side.
With all that
those
being
numbers
said,
up quick.
Yeah, but with all that being said, a little fast. A little too. I mean, I know they're fast zombies, but like the entire city in chaos 30 minutes into a raid is also kind of like, ooh, my suspenders of disbelief were kind of slipping a little bit.
Because one of the things that's effective for me, okay, so it's like they look out and there's like explosion, shit is like going down all throughout the city. And then concurrently, there's also thousands heading towards their way. So I don't know where they're at in like the population, but I have no like reference for like how many people where this, like if you talk about the zombie apocalypse in New York, I have a better reference for like understanding 1,000 zombies happening really quickly. I can process that. So I just don't, this town, I guess, didn't look as big to me for whatever reason. But what I'm getting at here is that in something like 28 Days Later, and you're talking about like these big scoping shots, there's one that's really effective for me where it's just like a singular gas station or whatever that fucking just like blows up. Yeah, like you can feel everything's desolate, but then you get like just like that one thing, as opposed to just like the fucking raining CGI chaos that happens here. But that's this movie. This movie is just like everything all at once. Like, well, it's also, I feel like it's it's like a war zone. So like I feel that like the French army was like, okay, let's just bomb the city. Like, oh, we got three zombie outbreaks where 3 zombies are in the city. Level it. Let's just fucking level it.
Wes and Ade make a truce until they get out of the building. They're gonna work together, and they gotta, you gotta keep your gangsters in check. You gotta keep your cops in check. And I'm like, fucking all right, and we're off. Again, we don't know anything about the characters other than like we're cops and we're gangsters.
But we've got to work together.
Ade and Doo-Doo Master do get some like hinted at backstory that seems pretty interesting and dark.
They're brothers.
Yeah, they're brothers from Nigeria.
Right, but they were probably abused and like came to France from like some sort of war-torn thing happening. They at least have like a little bit happening. They decided to go back to the hideout for the guns that are there, and they see one of the zombies dragging bodies away down the hallway. So for some reason, we learn in this that they like to hoard their food.
Did you circle that when you wrote that down?
I didn't write it down. I just came up with that.
Thought of it off the top of the dome?
Yeah, freestyle comedy,
you.
baby.
Good
I'm
on
a regular
you, Sam.
Cat Williams. Carney offers drugs to the injured cop for pain. Wes and Lady Cop have a
Give
moment.
me that booger sugar.
Wes and the Lady Cop have a moment. She complains about the gangsters and says Wes got them into this mess, but Wes tells her it's her fault, that she got Rivlin the cop dead because she had sex with him and told him she was pregnant, and that messed with his head. And somehow that got this guy killed. I don't understand. Wes goes to...
weird.
Yeah. Wes goes to Ade, asks about a game plan, and he says, we avoid the trails of blood, which sounds like a good game plan to me. He's like, what? That's your plan? I was like, actually, what the fuck else are you going to do?
That's actually a really good point, because there's a lot of this in the set when you open a door and then it's just coated in blood and like hand lines that are getting dragged down where you're like, we should close that door. I think that's the one we should probably avoid.
Yeah, and they collect the bodies, so you know if you see it, like a zombie went that way.
Mm-hmm.
The building has now gone to shit. Only a few staircases will work for an exit. Or it's always been shit, I guess. It's just like in bad condition, and elevators don't work. They don't go past the 4th floor or something. So we see a staircase, and it has a fucking body faller in it that looks fantastic, that doesn't get utilized at all. Which is really disappointing. That's a corpse hole if I've ever seen one.
Mm-hmm.
But when the first time we see it, they're like, oh, zombie noises, we're out of here. And they go to a different staircase.
I was waiting.
They really like lead it up. They show it to us
much. Right? Well, because you have the shot where it's the staircase, like the stairwell going all the way down to the floor where you're like, okay. And then you hear that like this. You're like, oh, fuck. I was waiting for a body to drop from the higher level.
Oh, yeah.
Straight
right
down.
Totally.
Just a jump scare. Just like that was the perfect time for a body flop, lose your sonic rings. But no.
And they don't even show it to us. They come back to it, but like they didn't need to show it to us this first time. They hear zombie noises. They take a different staircase. They go down a dark hallway. And just when they get to the other doorway, they hear something. Instead of going in the staircase, they decide to check out whatever they fucking heard.
Yeah.
And injured cop gets taken by a zombie. Lady cop goes after him. The rest of the group goes into the stairwell, except the Carney. He gets stuck in there, and he street fights the shit out of those zombies.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate what they're trying to do in like fighting zombies in a different way, like hand-to-hand combat, but it's not like martial arts fighting. It's like it's street brawling.
It's like street brawling, John Wick-esque kind of fighting with zombies.
Not that good though.
No. This is but this is where it clicked for me, specifically Carney's scene and then the female cop scene when she's fighting the female zombie in the bathroom. Where I was like,
ridiculous.
I'm like, I'm watching an action movie that has horror sprinkled on top of it. Like, it's so action based that I'm just like, okay, all right. This just happens. This is an action movie that just happens to have zombies in it.
It's like they made the movie like this, like gang movie, this action movie. It was all normal, and they couldn't get funding for it until they were able to like make it like, well, if we make it a horror movie, I think we can get some funding. Throw some zombies in it. Let's change it up a little bit.
Have you seen the numbers on these zombie movies coming out? We should throw some zombies in this action movie.
Throw them, and I think that'll make it work. But yeah, it's heavy-handed, especially with all the fighting action, hand-to-hand combat scenes with the zombies. Wild.
So like this one, I forgive a little bit more because he's stuck in the hallway without a weapon, so he's got like nothing to do, but he's just kind of fighting for his life. But some of the other stuff is
it starts with Carney and then it progressively gets more bonkers as the movie's progressing.
Yeah. So cut to Lady Cop fighting the zombie, and there is something very amusing about giving a zombie a bunch of rib punches. Like there's a point where she's just like holding it, fucking slugging it in the ribs, and it's like, you're not trying to like You're not trying to escape. You're not trying to get away. You're not like you are just beating up this zombie at this point. It's not like
this is where
for survival.
I'm fucking flabbergasted because it is very apparent after watching Bathroom Zombie take 100 rounds to the torso, then having his head blown off. It's like, you have to fucking shoot or like maim this thing in the head. And it is insane to me that they're just brawling. And like you said, Sam, it's all rib shots. It's literally torso shots and like arm bars and a bunch of other shit where you're like, none of that makes any sense. Like just something heavy and cave their skull in.
All their decisions in this movie come back consistently as making no sense, and their inability to learn to do a headshot is insane. Like it's on Fido levels of like not hitting headshots here. Like
or the Beyond.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she knocks the zombie down, tips a fridge onto it. I guess that'll take care of it. It seems to work.
She does something.
She does something to the head and then does that, but it's still alive before she tips it over, or undead. Injured cop is in there. He's still hanging on. I guess he was just watching this whole fight. Now we're back to our other group. The stairs they were going down have a big hole blown in the side of it, which the CGI perspective that they put for the blown hole in that, I was like, where the fuck are we looking at? What am I seeing right now?
I like the fact that they put...
I don't know what I'm supposed to see.
It's a green screen, and then you're looking down, and it's a street view, where I'm like, wouldn't that be the lobby? Like, wouldn't it be the bottom of the building?
Tell.
It almost seemed top down to me, not a street view. Like,
yeah.
I think we all have different versions of it.
It's like a Rorschach's hole, where it's just like, what did you see in that? Did you see the street?
Rorschach's hole myself.
Hey, have you glared into that Rorschach's hole?
Is that anything like Rorschach's hole?
I don't think you're like that.
The
Heads or tails?
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. This is when we meet the old bigoted war veteran.
Oh, wow. I guess we probably should have had that in the Mothman, where there was some heavy racist language.
He was in I forget what it's called. I Googled it. It was a real war, French-Chinese war, and seems sort of like a D-Day type of thing in France. So that's what he would have been. That his type of character, like something where everybody died and he was like one of the only survivors and fucking blah blah blah.
This guy is literally a Dead Rising like mini boss. Like he's got this ginormous fucking axe. He's covered in blood. And he is literally a lunatic.
Yeah, he's lost his mind.
And honestly, I was on board with it because this movie is so fucking bonkers. Like, of course they'd have a crazy war veteran covered in gore with a stack of bodies. Great, fucking, I'm like so on board.
He provides some entertainment, and he's like not supposed to be likable, so it works. But he uses a derogatory term for Chinese people when talking about the zombies. It'd be like saying the Jerry's for the Germans, but something that I'm not comfortable saying. So I'm not going to.
No, precisely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Consistently for almost the entire time that this man is on screen.
So he invites them back to his place to treat the Carney's leg bite. He's also the guy who calls the Carney, who is... I don't know why he calls him that. Maybe because he's got face scars. But
him Bizcash cleaning off his fucking axe sledgehammer.
Yes,
I thought that was delightful. Great.
This is fantastic.
Injured cop and lady cop find a man that has committed suicide, and they take his gun. That's just important in a moment. It's like a shotgun, I think. But back in the bigot's apartment, Wes is treating the bigot, treating the Carney when the bigot starts cleaning his axe and says he's going to cut off the Carney's leg.
I got to take the leg, dude. Just all of them yelling and bickering, and then what's his name? Ottaway in the background going, like, do it!
Yes!
Do it!
Yes!
Everybody's got guns drawn on each other, like, no, yes, no, blah, blah. And yeah, he's just over there like, do it. Yeah, it's so funny.
Like, out of this scene,
he's just enjoying the chaos.
Well, yeah, but I felt like I got the most character development out of this. Not character development, but I felt like I got a lot of character
character
out of the people.
Character
all the different people.
You start to learn their flavors a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think because we have this scene, it made me so aggravated for the rest of it, where I was like, where was this the rest of the fucking movie?
Well, we're coming up on like the third act. Yeah, this is not
exactly
not the time. So they argue about it, and they decide they're not going to chop the leg off. Lady Cop and Injured Cop are talking about their complex history with the dead cop when she sees Injured Cop's skin change in a zombie-ish way. That was kind of a cool effect, the way it all kind of like hematomas out. Yeah. While begging for...
No, I thought that was really neat. Yeah, it's like... just as a device, just to differentiate it a little bit. Again, there's all these little whispers of fun little things, and I was on board because it lent towards me thinking that like the zombie from earlier was a bigger mutation. So maybe we were see something like cooler and bigger and weirder or something.
Yeah,
like a little bit more on.
Yeah, like we got the beta version of these zombies, and they bite someone else, it mutates. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what that first zombie really gave me Resident Evil feels of like this weird mutation.
Now Lady Cop puts a gun to the Injured Cop's head. She tells him she doesn't care about him or anyone else because she's pregnant.
Like at the drop of a hat is literally like, hi, I'm pregnant now, so fuck you and fuck everyone in this goddamn building. Where you're like, whoa.
And at one point she says to the main dude or whatever, he's like, remember what we came here to do or whatever. She was always kind of like, says that at some point, later, but like, oh, okay. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Trying to imply that she was always this cold-blooded, but it seems to be out of nowhere, right?
Oh, but and the came here to do is totally like, unrelated. And as an audience member, I'm like, but what exactly did you come here to do? Like,
totally. It's weird because her character, like this weird sociopathic fucking like side note to her character, I legitimately thought she got bit or something. And then she's like, I'm killing everyone to get the fuck out of here because I just need to get the fuck out of here. Versus like,
also, if I'm pregnant in this situation, I am not like
wouldn't numbers be great? Not like fuck everyone, I'm out.
Yeah, you want more people around you, like you're gonna need help. I'm not like this is not a world you want to be fucking bringing a child in. I believe Dead Cop, but it seemed like she's romantically.
Wait, Dead Cop 1 or Dead Cop 2?
1.
Because she was involved with both Dead Cops.
The first one. The one from the beginning that set all this off, that they're at the funeral for.
So she's pregnant by that guy, not Headshot one? Because I thought she was involved with Headshot one specifically.
Well, she was involved with Headshot.
Okay.
But also...
I don't know if she was pregnant with Headshot.
I'm pretty sure it was with the other guy. Yeah, it is, because that's when Wes pulls her to the side when the gangsters are all listening, and he's like, it's not my fault, it's your fault. You're the reason he's dead. You fucked him and told him you were pregnant. That like got to his head or something. But also it's very unclear, so maybe he's talking about the other guy at that point. Who knows? Get shot.
You know what? It's on us because we didn't watch the fucking prequel.
Because it's like, okay, yeah, maybe. Because if she's going in, I get she's like, it's revenge. It seems like they're going in to kill the guy and I can get why she's upset. But like, and then I also, for some reason, it makes more sense to me, I guess, if for her to be so cold-blooded all of a sudden, if Headshot was the one that got her pregnant, and I guess maybe she had more feelings towards him.
Yeah.
And
I mean, she does on her knees
that headshot and screams like, crying like,
could be. But if it is, it
but
really
it's
does
so
a poor
unclear.
job
It's
at
so unclear, and it
that.
really does not illustrate it well, and does not make me feel for any of them.
Yeah. So she puts a gun to Injured Cop's head, and while begging for his life, he slaps her gun away and hits her with that shotgun they just found, and she bounces off a mirror and is knocked out cold. Meanwhile, the ragtag survivor group is having a drink in the apartment and developing their characters. This is like, again, anything in Bigot's apartment is really the only time we get character development. Bigot tells Cop that that the cop's just like them. He gets turned on by the violence. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I think it's just an interesting dichotomy because you have the war veteran with the criminals, and they're all doing shots. And he's like, no, it's like, you get off on this. Like, don't like admit it that like part of you is trying to be a good guy. It doesn't make much sense because you're turned on by it. I like that weird, like, you're turned on by it.
Yeah.
You're turned on by it.
I liked that as well. They turn on the TV and we get a like barely visible staticky news broadcast that's basically like, shit's going down, zombies are here. There is a base somewhere that if you can get there, you know, best of luck.
The normal bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to figure out how to get to an army base they saw on TV. Doo-Doo Master has a line about how... so this is something later makes me think that Doo-Doo Master and Ade were like raped by soldiers or something in Kenya. But also he's like, why do I want to go to this fucking army base where there are all these soldiers who will see my black ass as a dick garage? And I've never heard dick garage before. I don't think so, at least just the way it was used in this really was good.
This is a terrible side tangent, but
Russ has a dick garage side tangent.
I have a dick garage side tangent. So Bike Week just happened here, right? So unfortunately this woman passed away, but there is a woman at Bike Week that she actually got it tattooed finally, but she had writing on her lower back with arrows that said parking in rear, and then on her stomach said boner garage with arrows pointing. And she wrote it on her stomach for years and then literally got it in fucking old English on her actual stomach with arrows pointing down that says boner garage. And I paused the movie because after he says this fucking line, I laughed so hard. I will drop a photo of me with boner garage in the Discord.
Oh, please put it in the Horde
because I have a photo
channel
of both of us together. Oh my God, it was fantastic.
Oh my God, you got your photo with boner garage?
You got a photo with boner garage?
You lucky son of a bitch. I'm so jealous of you. What a life boner garage must have lived.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, man.
All right. So
the amount of boners you must have seen.
Parked. Boners that got valeted in that garage.
All right. So, Doo-Doo Master is now getting...
Enough dicking around. Let's get back to the movie.
Doo-Doo Master is getting angrier and angrier, and his brother Ade ends up pushing him to the ground in a very tense moment. Yeah. And Ade puts his hand out, but Doo-Doo Master won't take it, and instead the Carney lifts him up. So we're starting to see their relationship is getting fractured.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because the one brother's like, yeah, we should all work together. And the other one's like, no, fuck these people. Let's leave them, right?
Fuck these people.
Well, he doesn't want to go to the military base and like go on this group escape there. Too. He's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So they're like, what the hell? Everybody but the cop gets choked out before they attempt their escape. Oh, coked out. They all get coked out.
Coked out.
Because that's funny. They're all doing like bumps and doing coke and everything. And then next thing you know, the bigot with the axe is like screaming, running down the hallway. That's a fun cut.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
But the hall's empty.
Weird bigoted comic relief.
Yeah. Even the bodies are gone. They were taken by the zombies. A lady zombie holding a head comes into the hall. She charges them, but Doo-Doo Master shoots her in the knee to take her down. The Carney, the Bigot, and Doo-Doo Master torture the lady zombie and talk about raping it.
I'm sorry, could you say that line one more time?
The Carney, the Bigot, and Doo-Doo Master walk into a bar.
I'm sorry. I just don't think I'm ever going to hear that sentence again, so I needed you to say that again for me.
They see a zombie woman holding a decapitated head at the end of the bar.
At the end of the bar, and mosey on down.
So this part's actually pretty fucked up. Yeah, they shoot her in the leg, shoot her in the other leg, then start talking about like, oh, we should fuck this slut, huh? And they're all getting into it, and you actually feel pretty bad for the zombie. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, She looks scared.
No, this
like,
whole scene was super
feeling,
fucked.
Yeah.
Because it went from like a zombie movie to getting like real fucking dark. Like real fucking dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like the vet was literally contemplating getting a blowjob from a zombie. Like he was like,
he joked about it. I think he might avoid that end.
So
I think
so. This is the first scene that happens. Okay, we talked about this in Fido, right? With what's his name, the neighbor guy, and his zombie lady, and like at what point there has to be a starting point before domestication and all that, where you have to bring it in.
And
these guys were ready to start right away and get going before, you know.
It's also a super fucked up one too.
Either way,
in
it's
this
rape,
scene
this is...
where he's like their pinned down, is that like there's a certain point where the zombie is still kind of actively trying to bite, but then it just looks frantic and scared.
Yeah, and they're like shoving the dead head and the corpse head in the face, being
French
like, kiss it. Yeah,
it was super like war crimes kind of fucked up. And like that's all I was getting.
Well, and
out of that, where I was like, "Oh, gross." Okay,
it's exactly what we learned right after. Ade is sick of watching this. Walks up, shoots her in the head, and then yells at Doo Master, asking if he thinks he's a badass. You think you're a badass doing this? Do you want me to tell everyone what was done to us? Have you forgotten? And they're Kenyan, so I assume they're refugees. He also makes a reference when he was like looking out the window earlier that it reminded him of. Forget the name of it. I Googled it. It's the capital city. Did I say Kenyan? They're Nigerian.
Yes.
It's the capital city of Nigeria. I didn't get into the history, but I'm assuming there's probably some well-known thing that in France they have not like I bet in France you understand the backstory there from whatever.
Well, then I guess, I mean, this scene is very intense and like, because how does it happen? One of the brothers is into it and one of them isn't.
Yeah. So our lead one is our main guy is not into it. And the sort of he's angrier, louder brother the whole movie is the one participating. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it's just too intense and how they did it and everything. But like this weird, I don't know what this movie is trying to say. It feels like there's this weird thing they're trying, this undertone, this weird like story of these brothers and what they went through in this rape story.
I think there is some stuff with that I think it like without being in France at the time, we would have no idea. I think it's all like probably culturally known stuff that without explaining it, we have no idea.
Hit and like and because of the supposed what we think is rape thing with the brothers past, this is a way for it to come up. And how have they, you know, what are they doing with their lives because of that? One has fallen into becoming like it and one is against it type of thing. But it is such a intense and weird scene within this movie that it
stands out.
Doesn't work well. It stands out. So then leading away from that, but one thing that I was thinking about is that when he shoots her in the knee and it brings this zombie down, why so easily when other ones can get riddled with, I assume probably in their legs as well with bullets and easily get like...
That's a fantastic point.
Like this one is so easily taken down by one bullet, and then towards the end of the movie we had the guy with the machine gun taking out, shooting them to death, and those things are just coming like that's like it's not doing much.
Good point. Now after this happens, the carny tells Doo Master that he can't let his brother talk that way to him, and the bigot seems like he might still want to fuck the zombie. And this one the carny says, "You scare me, dude." And the bigot says, "How so?" Which I like that little moment. It alleviated how intense that scene was for me. Injured cop appears in hall. Hey, he's reconnected, and he's about to tell Wes the lady cop tried to kill him when boom, his head gets shot, and the lady cop is there, and she just fucking killed him in front of everybody.
Yep.
Wes threatens her. Wes threatens her, but doesn't do anything. She's like, "Don't worry about it, everybody. He can't fucking do anything," and he can't. He can't bring himself to do it. They pry open the elevator shaft and climb down, and then I'm not confused now. I was confused before because they climbed down to an elevator, but they had said earlier in one throwaway line, the elevator only goes to the 4th floor. So that's how that works.
I do like after the shooting, she uses Fast and Furious logic where she's like, he's not going to fucking kill me because we're family.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Well, there is, I mean, who knows? We didn't know if there was a wife or a mother. Who knows? They may all be related and we don't fucking know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, when it first started, I was like, oh, this is some sort of other mafia family that's fighting with some other gang. I thought it was just warring gangs because of how, like,
well, if Wes hadn't flashed a badge, you would never know that they were fake
badges.
Right?
Totally. Actually, I thought something was off.
And I
thought it was all a setup. I thought it was all just a fucking...
Dude, I also got super grossed out because while we've been talking about these different scenes and stuff like that, the guy who gets shot in the collarbone, like the guy who gets the headshot first off, I thought I remembered him from something. And unfortunately, I did. And that movie is Irreversible. And I went, oh, that's that guy? Oh, fuck. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that is a movie.
That is a movie. Yeah.
That French new wave, like,
yeah. I see. Yep. Yeah. Say no more.
Yep. It was just like that.
More.
Ooh. So they climb down the elevator shaft to the elevator. And when they get there, this is when Dudu Masta and Carney turn on them. Point the guns at them, take all their guns from them, go down the elevator, leave him to die. He turns on his brother.
Which is such a weirdly fucked scene where it's like, I mean, maybe take a gun or just be like, hey, you know what? Fuck this. We're going to do our shit. You're going to do yours. We're getting the fuck out of here. And just hold guns at them and then just go. I feel like it's such a weird overkill to strip them of all of their weapons. You know what I mean? Especially how it's presented. It's like, dude, is like bullets. Straight up like, totally. But also like, you shouldn't let your brother talk to you like that. Instantly turns into, I'm gonna fucking murder my brother.
Well, that is the one thing. If it weren't his brother, like everybody else, sure, take their guns. But you'd think he'd leave them with something.
A pistol
like, here's this pipe.
Shit.
I don't know. Like, shotgun out of shells, whatever. But no.
Nope.
So now they're like, the bigot says, you know what? The super's got to stash a weapon at his place. We'll go there. So now we're back to the corpse faller stairs. And I'm like, oh, here they are. It's going down.
Nothing.
I'm super curious on what the gun laws are in France, because the amount of arsenal that we come to find
absolutely
is hilarious to me.
But I'm assuming I don't know what they are, but I would assume they're like most of Europe and pretty strict, and that this is just a tenant building, a closed building full of gangsters, that this guy's the suit. He can have whatever he wants. You know what I mean? I assume it's all illegal.
Yeah.
But this also does play out like a goddamn video game where it's like the superintendent has a stash of weapons, a cache.
So
did you find the key?
Go there.
Find the key.
And on their way there, they stop to look at all the zombies at the front door for like 30 seconds, and they're just gnashing their teeth. They talk about like, oh, they look
hungry,
sad, and then somebody
starving.
says, I think they're starving,
something, all that kind of nonsense and
bullshit.
They're
trying to add some meaning to the movie, I guess. I don't know what
I guess they're hungry, so they're hoarding food and a bunch of
So the super does have a ton of guns, and as they load up, this is when Lady Cop threatens Ade again, saying she hasn't forgot why she game. Wes looks at her, is like, I haven't either, but like, we're not ready for that yet. Let's keep moving. So now they're leaving, and the zombies break through those doors we just saw them at, and they start chasing our group. Our group makes it to the garage, and as they try to close the door against the zombies, Adi sees the abandoned weapon bag that his brother and the Carney took, and he leaves them to try to close the door on their own in pursuit of his brother. And what he finds is the Carney eating doo-doo master.
Carney eating some doo-doo.
It's the Carney eating doo-doo master.
Munching down. Doo-doo. He's a Carney eating doo-doo master.
No,
me, I'm just a Carney eating doo-doo master.
Doo-doo master.
I'm just a Carney eating doo-doo master.
This segue was kind of like, well, no fucking shit. Like, I literally was like, well, no fucking shit. But him annihilating Carney.
So he shoots him with a shotgun a bunch, doesn't fucking kill him. I'm fine with only because we get a really gnarly. He just grabs his head and starts smashing his head against the column, yelling, "I'm a fucking Nigerian," until his head just like caves in.
It's great.
It's
honestly probably my favorite
Gore
scene out of the movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's with the exception of like one headshot where the head kind of blows up. Everything else is just blood. You know what I mean?
Yes, for the most part.
Even with the zombie, I will give you the credit for that. Like the zombie blindness with this, where like when the Horde starts doing its shit, especially with like the latter scene with kind of like the guy on top of the car, but like we get like limbs getting chopped off, heads getting chopped off, but there's so many of them that you really like. They're not zooming in on it, so it's more like
and it is
it's
that
happening.
action gore. You know?
Yes.
So
yeah, it's all over the place. You mostly just see.
This is the only thing that actually
like.
feels more like horror gore than action gore.
Absolutely,
sure.
Bigot, Lady Cop. Wait, Bigot, Lady Cop, and Bigot.
Oh boy!
Must have been Bigot, Lady Cop, and
multiplied.
West. Must have been Bigot, Lady Cop, and West managed to close the door and seal it. Oh, but while they're doing it, West gets bitten by a zombie. Now they're walking in the garage and they just hear like a zombie horde getting louder and louder, but they don't see anybody. They had caught up to Ade now, and they're all back together. And Wes is like, you know what? I'm gonna stay and hold him off. He knows he was bit, so he's gonna turn.
Yeah.
And he's like, you all go. I'll hold him off. He tells Ade, take care of the lady cop for me. Which is
at this moment,
what happened?
Right? Oh, she immediately was like, "Fucking, let's just go!" Like she does not give two shits.
Like,
at this point.
She's like, "I'm gonna stand and hold him off." She's like, "I don't care. Goodbye."
Yeah, I don't care. Adios. This is the moment where I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, in most Romero movies, we usually get one guy against an entire horde, and then gets pulled apart in the goriest, most ridiculous fashion possible. And we don't get that. We don't
he
fucking
gets covered
get
in
that.
hands.
He gets covered. Okay, the horde scene with them like all over. I thought that cinematically was a really cool fucking shot.
Cool shot. Looks good.
With
Be
no
good in a graphic
payoff.
novel.
Yes, literally no payoff. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
So they take off.
And it was really lackluster, in my opinion, what ultimately happens with
Totally.
him.
I remember it. So that's the other thing. I also remembered this part in particular being way cooler than it is. You know what I mean? So I think maybe, I don't know what it is. It just, it doesn't work. Maybe it was just what it was that time I watched it. that was the initial problem. Anyway, so they're running at him. He shoots a couple times, but then stops shooting and starts running at him and shoulder checking a bunch of zombies as he's running through them. Don't know why he would do that. Now he's kind of street fighting him again before climbing on the car. Go ahead.
Well, he's like throwing him down, and like he's getting some bites on his arms, but not enough to constitute what happens. I don't know, the last fucking hour and 15 minutes of an hour and a half movie where zombies are like ripping huge chunks of people and like superhuman strength and shit like that, where like this guy is literally like body checking and they all seem like they're just trying to hug him and not actually
how about
try
he
to bite
gets
him.
on top of a car and they just
and they
somehow
can't
figure that
stops.
out.
They're like, oh fuck, what are we gonna do? Like the things we have seen the zombies do, and they cannot like get him.
They cannot grasp this a car.
Outrageous.
Like, especially the fact that these are such quick and seemingly agile
they just
zombies.
be able to jump on top of the
like
car.
Dumb, stupid. Like, even if
they might not be able to open
slow
doors,
zombies,
but they could get on top of a car. Like,
it's like,
get
what
on
the
a fucking
fuck?
car. So he does his whole fucking
double
slicey,
shooting him in the head, runs out of bullets, just pulls out a machete.
Even he's shooting so fucking sloppily too. Like, I'm like,
but we
what
do
are you
see
even?
Headshots in this part to like it. Just one of the few times we see
it's all seeming very randomly,
CGI head
like he's hitting
explosions.
those.
Well, there's so much around it. It's hard to follow the action of like what's happening, which is a complaint, especially at the end, following the action. Then he starts machete chopping him, fucking stabs one in the head, and he's eventually taken over by hands. The survivors...
I mean, that is how I want to die.
Am I right?
It's being overtaken by hands.
Am I right?
Heavenly hands.
Heavenly.
Oh, yeah,
heavenly
some Lars
gurus.
hands.
What's that?
Some Lars hands from Club Dread.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
That's
That'd be
how
like,
he escapes.
some of that
He gives him
gum.
the orgasm thing on the face, and he goes, "I can only hold these
For like-
zombies off for a few minutes while
Like
they're
another
coming."
minute or two.
What was that fucking gum? That you like eat some and now you're like on a ball of vibrating beads or something. Remember those commercials?
Oh, is it Take Five? No,
Five.
Five.
It's called like five or whatever. Yeah.
Want that, but Lars
Yeah,
hands.
you would like be like floating on like a bunch of hair dryers. It'd be like real
That's the
hot, and
cinnamon
then like
one.
above you would be like an
Yeah.
ice cube.
Gotta get some of that gum. All right.
New five
remaining-
gum. It like
Sponsor
whispers.
us.
Right, yeah. It's a good campaign. We're still talking about it. Our remaining survivors run from zombies until they find an apparently empty hallway. So they go in there, and now they've made their way to the...
Where the fuck are, like, I know they're at a basement at a certain point, but then it just turns into Texas Chainsaw Massacre narrow hallways with wooden slatted doors.
Mm-hmm.
And it confused the shit out of me.
I
I was
don't
like,
know,
I know
France,
it's
man.
supposed to be like an old build. Yeah, I guess it's just. I was expecting them to hop into the catacombs at a certain point.
It
Where I was
could have
like,
been.
well,
That's
they're
where
done.
they were headed to.
Like this shit's big.
Yeah.
So they make their way down that narrow hall. We see a few zombies get mowed down, but there's a locked door at the end. So now Lady Cop and Ade are trying to get the door open while the bigot uses his big ass gun to mow down zombies in the hall. Just fucking a ton of I don't know, 30 zombies. How many zombies you think he took out? He'd take out a wave and then another wave.
A
would
hallway.
Come. Yeah, about a hallway's worth. And then
Not an effective use of bullets. He should have asked for that grenade
I
a lot
lo-
quicker.
well, he should have been aiming for the
Like-
head as well. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
that thing's hard to shoot, but
Okay, I was very confused by the fucking grenade. Like, that whole grenade sequence was like, you had ample time to pull that pin and throw it halfway down the hall, but just decided not. Was he dying of a heart attack and he knew it? Because he's like, I'm not
I don't
dying of a
wanna
heart
die
attack in this fucking
I
thing.
think it was just like a blaze of glory thing. Like,
I think so, but it did not
Okay.
work well. I feel like it
I-
should have been, the situation should have been a little
Worked
bit more
really well.
dire. Something else should have been happening
Absolutely.
because, like you
worked
said,
well for him he should have been bit as well. Type of
Oh,
deal.
Brian, do you mean the two people he was trying to help that are 6 feet away from him are desperately screaming, "Don't, oh my God, open this door," as he pulls a pin that he's like, well, we're just going to all die.
right? Like this
Right,
is such a
'cause
narrow
they would have
hallway.
died too.
Throwing the grenade down there probably would have like destroyed enough
Collapsed the
rubble,
hallway or something.
collapse some shit. Like
Yeah.
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 But they get out just in time. A zombie jumps on him, and they're all piling on top of him. And he pulls out the
Shoves it
pin
in
of
his
the grenade
mouth.
and shoves it in his mouth. Boom! Big explosion. One of those grenades that goes big. You know what I mean? Flames everywhere.
It's one of them French grenades.
Kiss me. I want you to
Kiss me like one of your
me
French
like one of your
grenades.
French grenades. Yeah. They're finally out of the building. It's dawn. Classic. You know the horror movie's over because the sun's coming up.
Gives a sense of
Washed out.
Yeah.
We go from totally dark to totally washed out.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking color grading. There are no zombies around. They take a moment to catch their breath.
Now they went out the
Cop shoots
back.
Ada in the back of the head.
The zombies are in the front. They went out the back.
Sure,
There's-
right.
Yeah, it's fine. Back
They had
here.
all gone in the building at this
Uh-huh.
point. The zombies look out the window. They're like, ah.
Oh, come on.
Well, they probably did get fucking collapsed. That tunnel did get collapsed by the goddamn grenade. The dude just threw it. He could have been
Yeah,
out there with
right?
them, getting shot in a second.
This end sequence angered me so much.
Interesting.
Where it's like, dude, okay, like, I get the fact that, like, obviously, like, revenge, and she does get revenge, but also she's such it's this self-aware, she's a self-aware hole, as in, like,
oh,
you're preggers,
you're like the self-aware hole.
you're like a self-aware hole, is like, she knows that she's gonna shoot this dude in the back of the fucking head, and then the noise is going to draw everybody. Like, that's like, if the last God knows how long night filled in this fucking thing, where it was like,
I don't think
Wasn't
she
the
thought
whole-
about that. to be honest.
But the whole point of her getting out of the building is because she's pregnant. And so she's like, fuck this, fuck everyone. I have to get out of this building because I have a baby. And then literally blows this dude's head off to alert the entire swarm of where she's at.
Sure,
I feel like self-preservation would trump revenge in this scenario.
Until this point, the gunshots haven't attracted zombies for her. You know what I mean? They're just running into zombies. It's not like they ever shot something and were like, oh, fuck, now zombies are coming. Like, so I think she was not thinking of it and was thinking about how this guy is responsible for killing both the dudes she was having sex with, whichever. Yeah. And one of them was the dad, whichever one that was.
Yeah, I think that's what set her off. Like that's what it had to be. She didn't know who the dad was. She lost one of them. She's like, okay, I have this other guy. That works for now. Oh shit, I just watched his head get fucking shotted. Now they're both done.
She would have been better off making Ade the new dad.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to need more than just you during a zombie apocalypse.
I don't know. She thinks she's not, you're not. Yeah. I mean, her thought process, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's like, dumb.
Because her thought process is like, I need him to get through this situation. I'm out of this situation, right? So now I can pop him and kill him. But what about the next situation? Don't you still need someone? Like, you're dumb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
just like the building isn't just an ecosystem.
Him, and then it's just a camera on her face as zombie horde noises get louder and louder, and she's kind of looking around and moving.
And she has this like, oh shit kind of face. It's still daggers, but it's that kind of like, oh.
Yeah, I don't think she thought about it.
If you had put at the very last second, like, like I felt like that's how this movie ended.
Oh, she got it now, but it's such a stupid. Yeah.
Final thoughts before we move on.
Nah, let's move on.
My biggest complaint of all the stuff we talked about is the stylization of it. Like, I really just don't like how the grimy filter it has. The look of it turns me off more than anything.
Well, it's like, if you're going to bank this hard on making something feel and look like a video game, just go all in.
That's the thing. I would have been okay with that look if the story, the characters, the everything matched it a little bit more or something. Made me more interested to care about being in that gross look.
Yeah, give every character a health bar.
There you go. Speaking of health bars, go grab one, or you're not going anywhere. Let's do it. Bum bum. So, it is time for our crematorium of questions. How would we survive this one? Chuddlebus is at the top of the tower. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we do.
No, I think
that was easy.
Super easy. Well, it's just because even if you make it out, even if you die, you're still going to turn into a fucking zombie in this universe. So,
sure.
Even if you escape all of it, you are just a ticking time bomb to be a zombie yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think you're surviving? Do you think you're getting out of the tower? I mean, do you think you can make it out of the tower?
No.
Do you think the three of us were in the tower? We can't make it out.
Well, okay, hold on.
Three of us, we have all those guns.
We get to that. I
don't think we make it out.
I think we got like a 20%. Well, because given the
Ross,
characters
I think
in this
we
movie,
sacrifice Sam. I think you and I can make it out.
Sam
He's too negative. He's too negative.
Start shoulder checking zombies and get on a car.
Get on a car.
Take off.
Like, yeah.
I think if we did have
live by sacrificing me.
Right. And even so, like maybe 20% chance.
That'd be fun. How many Chuddlemen must be sacrificed to survive?
Survive this. Ooh.
That's a good wrinkle.
I like that.
And which ones? This one, for what reasons?
I think it's survivable with one Chuddleman sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then two can survive.
Me.
Two may survive.
I'll be like,
this is fun. Okay, cool.
You go, bros.
You go, bros.
And then I scream, Chuddle, as they take me.
Ooh, and then you stand on a car and you're fine.
And you're fine. Yeah. They just walk around you.
Just
can you come back? I'm fine. I actually.
I'm just on top of this car.
Is kind of. I guess I'm just gonna hope they find something else to do.
It's kind of like It's kind of like a game of hot lava, I think. If we just like
the floor is lava, yeah.
Floor is lava.
Zombies.
you stand on top of a chair and they can't get to you for some reason. So you just like fucking piggybacking chairs.
I mean, that's
around
basically what it is, standing on top of a car.
Yeah.
Because he's also surrounded. It's not like he goes to one side where they can't get him if the car was on a wall or something and they're just reaching. And
it's not like an SUV. It's like a fucking like
sedan.
Cadillac. Like it's
How do you make the film gooier? More viscera.
Viscera.
When Wes dies, tear him apart in the classic Romero way.
Yeah. That would have been
precisely.
fantastic.
Yes.
Give us more horror goo. There's plenty of action violence. Give us more traditional horror stuff. All right, villain level 1 through 10. Power level and iconography.
Iconography is going to be real low for me. I mean, they're running zombies, but none of them really stand out. Shy of the Resident Evil one in the bathroom, I feel was like a really cool zombie design. Most of these are like some bite marks to the neck. You got a little bit of blood on them, gnashy teeth, but it's normal, fast zombie cannon fodder, with the exception of like 1 or 2 alpha fucking zombies. But given the fact that like they're reanimated, they're super fast, some of them have superhuman strength out of nowhere, I feel is like the power level to me is.
What's your iconography level? You didn't say.
Oh, like a 1. You know what I mean? Like they're zombies and they do look creepy, but not super. And I'm only given a 1 because of Resident Evil bathroom zombie. And then I don't know, man. Like I would, but power level I would probably give maybe like a 3.5 to, because like, or honestly even a 4. It's just the fucking sheer numbers. They're like
interesting.
Just because there's so many of them, you know what I mean? Like the power level is like individually.
I didn't think of even though it's called the Horde, I didn't think of them as a unit when I did my power level.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole like the real crux of zombies, where it's like, okay, you can deal 1-on-1, but like when you have a building full of 1,000 of them, it's not god tier, but hard.
The Horde was in us all along.
The Horde was in us all along. Literally, we're all going to turn into zombies.
I felt it deep in the cockles of my Horde. Brian.
I'll give a 1 to iconography because it is zombies. I mean, zombies themselves are iconographic.
Iconographic.
Yeah.
Iconographic. Thank you. And, but I mean, but because they're not particularly that interesting or anything special, they don't deserve anything more, I think. And then power level, kind of similar, maybe about a 3 as well, just because they might be able to overwhelm you. They seem pretty strong at points. Unless you have a lot of weapons, it seems like they're hard to take down. I don't know though, because nobody really just straight goes for a headshot and does efficient kills.
Yeah,
right.
So it's hard to really judge that aspect. But they're quick, they're fast, so they're pretty. You know, they can probably overwhelm you pretty quick. But if you stand on a fucking car, you're fine. But
for a little while at least.
4 sounds good.
Cool. Power level, I was at a 2, but I bumped it up to 3 after our little discussion here. And then this is one of those things where I'm opposite on the iconography with you guys, simply because it's a zombie. A zombie on its own is a 5. But it comes down from a 5 because there's nothing that unique about them.
Yes.
So it starts at a 5 and it actually came down to a 3 for me because they're very reminiscent of other brands of zombie. I would reference 28 Days Later and Dawn of Dead remake for these types of zombies over this movie.
Yeah.
So it started at 5, bumped down to 3 because kind of for the same reasons. It just starts higher. And that gave me a 6. Should it have a sequel? What's your sequel?
I mean,
I think it just needs a remake and it needs to be better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's actually a really good point.
Started in the tower quicker.
This is a good starting place, this movie, but it needs to be done better.
Or if the prequel was like a crime drama, but in the background there's all these like hospitals are flowing in, something's going down. So it has this like weird, creepy sub narrative of this really building up to justify how the city gets overtaken. Well,
just
I think
flush out the crime drama. Just make it a crime drama with zombies instead of crime action with zombies, I guess. Yeah. I feel like we'd get more you'd get more horror elements, but you would also get more character development. Like if you focus on, you know, are these cops crooked cops? What's their background? Were they working with these gangsters? Like you could do all sorts of stuff. And
I think if you're going to keep it in the tower and keep that situation, I think you need to keep it a lot more simple and keep it a raid type of thing, maybe a smaller raid type of situation, going in there to take out the gangsters, make the characters a little bit more simple in that aspect so you can get quicker into the action if you're to be effective at the action horror.
Totally.
And then if you want to do like creepier or like more story based, lean more into the crime drama aspect and really build those characters out and don't like force them into this.
Show me Raccoon City before the infection, or like a day or two before the, like, you know what I mean? Like, give me hints of it, but like, I don't know. Give me that. I don't know.
That's not necessarily what I want, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you buy the soundtrack or score on vinyl?
No.
What soundtrack or score?
Maybe it was like some action.
I'm sure there was stuff there,
point,
but I couldn't tell you anything about it. Is anything action figure worthy? Probably just the one, the
bathroom zombie.
Yeah. So I want to do. I'm trying a little different phrasing. What prop would you want from this movie? Stick to prop.
I probably want the veterans weird axe hammer fucking hammer thing would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I could get down with that. I'm trying to think if there's anything zombie related I could get, but they're all pretty animated. I can't think of like, I'd want this thing. I guess maybe I'll take crushed skull.
I was gonna take the boyfriend or the husband's head.
Oh,
that the woman's carrying around.
Kiss it.
Yeah, perfect. That's the type of thing I'd want.
That's the prop.
And then for merch, I wanted to ask it more like what the way it was kind of intended of like promotional item.
I would buy the video game. If they made a video game and the movie at the same time.
This should be remade as a video game.
Yeah.
Then you can take as much time as you like to tell as much story and like really get into it.
I literally thought this would be
your idea, Brian, of a fully roaming, what's it called? For the tower itself.
But it just takes place in a tower. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Totally. Like, I feel like this would literally be like DLC for like Dead Alive or any zombie fucking game, like Dead Rising or Left 4 Dead. Would either one of these would be like the Horde special?
Sure, right? Yeah, expansion pack. Right, and
I'll take like the promotional item. I don't know, like a tower desk weight or something.
Like, that'd be good.
And it says like the Horde on it or something stupid. Coming soon, or no, always a good one would be the tower. It says the Horde on it, but it's a stress ball thing type of thing.
Oh, perfect!
You know
That's the promotional item.
Okay, the promotional item.
You get it when you got to see the movie.
You got to see it. No, the promotional item that I would fucking love.
It's the boyfriend's head.
Or the boyfriend's head. I would love a cell phone charger. That's literally just just a circle of just zombie hands going around.
Oh, sure.
Like in the final scene, so you just like they all look like they're holding it while it's charging. That has like a plaque that says like the Horde or something.
Now that would be cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I have a pit call for this movie. It's when they are drinking with the bigot and Doo Master says, "This stuff is hardcore." Later in the movies, they say, "I'll show you hardcore," which works better in reality as a pit call, but I think "this stuff is hardcore" is a much funnier thing to yell right before.
This stuff is hardcore. You kids these days.
All right, let's move on to the part where we rate this film that we just chopped up.
Show them.
On this show, we use a rating of 0 to 5 fingers. Each finger represents a different quality about the movie. You can chop off a quarter finger, half finger, full finger, any variation of. These ratings are intended to be subjective on how we feel about the movie. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. And let us start with my main man, Brian.
Sure. Engaging. I'm going to give it a 0.5. I was pretty engaged when stuff got going and I understood what was going on, but other times I was just in and out of it. A lot of the stuff that where I was like, the 30 additional seconds of a scene happening, I mean, I'm engaged,
Yes.
but I'm like, okay, this is dragging type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sticky, I mean, is this, I'll give it probably a 0.25, just because I don't know what the hell's going to stick with this about this movie. I'll remember having seen it, but I can't remember much more from it. T-shirtable, oof, 0.25, and that's generous, I think. I'd wear a Horde t-shirt. I don't have any problems against the movie if there was a cool enough thing and it was
cool enough. Yeah.
Like, this is in the range of like one cool enough, it's $5, or it was given, I don't even know about that, given to me type of thing. I'll wear it.
Yeah.
Cockles, 0.25. Why not? Because it's like the action was there, but for the most part, I'm just like, I didn't like the atmosphere. I didn't care for all the fucking janky cinematography. Like, some stuff was cool, but for the most part, I was like, I wanted something more from it. And rewatchable, let's go ahead and give it a 0.25. 0.25 across the board for this one. I feel like that's what really it fucking sits at. I mean, that's a 1.5, which feels really low. I don't know if it feels like a 1.5 movie. Maybe I'll readjust it on rewatches or re-ratings or whatever, but the 1.5 sits for it now.
Alrighty.
Ooh. All right. Engaging is going to engaging is actually going to get a 0.75. I was engaged, and even when I disengaged because of how batshit things started getting, I was more engaged to figure out how off the rails it was going to get. Like, I think it was weird because the more confused I got, the more engaged I got. So like, I can't give it a 1, but it was a 0.75. Sticky, a lot of this is going to be echoing what Brian said. Sticky is going to be 0.25. Like, there are a few one-liners in this, like, but really hitting it home. Like, I will remember that I watched this, and maybe if I'm having a conversation as in-depth as this episode, I might remember key lines or plot points or things like that, but they're not going to organically just pop into my head. Like, I'm going to have to actually like sit down and think about this movie to really kind of drum those things up. Totally. T-shirtable's gonna get a big old goose egg from me. I totally understand what Brian's saying, but for me, it's like, God, there are so many other Horde zombie movies that I would pick as a shirt over this. Even some of the low tier ones. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't bring anything new shirt wise for me. Maybe Trash Bag Zombie, but that's about, but it doesn't get the 0.25 for me. So that's a big old goose egg. Cockles is going to get a 0.5 because it did, man, there's like hints and nodes of awesome shit throughout this entire thing, and then it either doesn't deliver, it's lackluster, but like I was still like, my cockles were still revved, you know what I mean, where I'm like, I really want this, and then it just oh, all right, well, I guess it's something, not all of it. And then rewatchable, I think rewatchable is going to get a 0.25 as well, because I think like this will be one of those where like I feel if we like recommendations for French horror, or you know, if I've gone through most of my fast zombie movies, this would be at the bottom of the barrel of fast zombie movies, but I'd still rewatch it if I was on that kick, you know? So like I think it constitutes at least the 0.25. Sure.
That gives you I clicked off of it to my page too soon.
It's 1.75.
1.75.
1.75. It would be, I think I'm going to give it, I'm something phantom's going to happen. I think I'm going to give it a 2. I want to give it a 2. I think it has some redeeming qualities, but not enough for me to really
bump up the cockles.
Yeah, why not?
Because it's in your fort.
Cockles. Yep. All right, Sammy P, what you gonna do?
All right, let's see. This will be interesting. This was my pick, but again, I hadn't seen it since it came out. I just remembered liking it, and I certainly did not like it as much this time. We'll see where it ends up going. I know where I kind of feel it is in my heart, because I do still kind of like this, even though I don't really think it's very good. It's weird, but it hasn't turned me off from liking it. So we'll see what the score ends up being. 1 is engaging, or 1 for engaging, because on my second watch, all that long stuff was harder, but I was also watching it again not long after I just watched it. So, but my first rewatch, totally engaged, fine with everything. Sticky, I'm actually giving a 0 to, because I didn't remember shit about it. I mean, I knew it was in a building and there were zombies and it was an action movie.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I didn't remember anything. I mean, I guess that's 0.25. I remember a little about the story. Fuck it. I want to give it as much as I can to try and get a decent score. T-shirtable. I'm actually going to give 0.5 to T-shirtable. If I saw a cool Horde shirt, I would get it. But it would have to be cool. I want to get one just to get one. Cockles, only going to be a 0.5 there. Big part of that is because of the color grading and just the stylization of it. I don't like it. I don't like that when everything's all washed out, or even the way they do the darkness. And then 0.5 or rewatchable. I'm not going to give it a 0.5. I'm going to give it a 0.25 because I can see myself watching it again one day because I feel like I like this movie. But this watch for me, I mean, for all I know, it'll be another 15 years. And all I'll remember was that I liked it. And this will happen all over again where I'm like, oh, it's not that good, huh? That gets me to a 2.5. I wanted a 2.75, but I'm fine with 2.5.
Right. Sure.
There we have it. Moving off of ratings. What did the club say? We haven't seen this movie. What is this? Is it this Horde from 2012? No, not that Horde. What about this Horde from this year?
Not that one either.
So,
yeah, a lot of confusion about which Horde, but nobody saw it. But our Chuddle score collectively did bring us in at a 2 on this one here. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I do think mine's going to go up on re-rating. So this one I think will go up a little bit. But as it sits in the company of Jason Goes to Hell, Martyrs, Puppet Master, and right below it sits Murder Party and Child's Play 3. And right above it, you got things like The Final Destination, and X sits above it.
Yeah, we got to get this higher.
We got to change that. We got to do something. Change here.
Great. Well, Chuddlemen, I've had a blast doing this episode with you guys. Despite the movie not being what it was, I had fun on all our detours for this one.
Oh, absolutely.
So that does it for the Chuddle the Pod Horror Movie Club meeting for tonight. Follow Chuddle the Pod on Instagram / and Threads. Actually, that's where I'm most active these days. I run our main thing on all those, so that's why I said me. To stay up to the podcast, up to date with the podcast, you can follow our man Ross Purvis on Instagram. He's doing tattoos, he's doing art, and if you're in the Orlando area, check him out and get yourself a tattoo. They're real nice. Brian and I have some.
They're real nice.
You can follow me, Chuddle the Sam, Brian, Chuddle the Brian, on Letterboxd if you want to see what movies we're watching and see what our scores are. And you can jump into our Discord if you want to participate in the show or be part of the community. We're always talking about horror news, music, these movies that we're covering. So it's always a good time in there. Just to make it easy for you for all of that, just go down to the little show description. You'll find little links that you can do any of those things should you be so inclined. Oh, rate and review, because maybe or maybe not, that's a thing. Well, that does it for me. Does that do it for you?
Yeah.
Excellent. Until next time, avoid the time goop.